Hello, I'm Chris Kersey of Team Kimlee, and welcome to another edition of Let's Talk, as we have conversations with people who are in our ovarian cancer community. And tonight, we are so glad and honored to have with us Mrs. Laura Holloway of Blackwood, New Jersey, who has graciously agreed to come talk to us about her ovarian cancer journey. And we have with us also her husband, Brjian Holloway, to share his experiences as well. So we also have some conversation items, some fun items as we get to know them throughout this conversation. So first, Laura and Brjian, welcome to Let's Talk. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Thanks for having us.
Doing pretty good. Doing pretty good. Thank you for coming on. We certainly appreciate that. And so, just to get started, so tell us a little bit about yourself and your family, Laura.
So my name is Laura. I am 35 years old, and I live in South Jersey. I am the youngest of 4 siblings. I have an older brother and 2 older sisters. I have 6 nieces and nephews, ranging from 18 all the way down to 4 is the youngest.
Okay.
So that's my family. And then me and Brjian together have a French bulldog named Luna.
All right. That's awesome. Cool in the gang. So listen, quick question. How long have you and Brjian been married?
December 2nd was 5 years.
Really? Just passed?
Yeah,
just passed.
Well, happy anniversary, 5 years.
Thank you.
That's
Thank
awesome.
you.
I don't think you're newlyweds anymore.
No, I don't think so. And July was 12 or 13 years together.
Oh, really? Okay. Well,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, good for you guys. You guys are great together.
Thank you.
All right, sounds good. So, Laura, being an ovarian cancer survivor, tell us about your journey and what was that like in the experience?
So last year in late October, I was having severe stomach pain in my lower abdomen. At the time, I worked for a surgical oncologist at Penn Medicine. He's a urologist, but he does surgical oncology. And we work in teams. So I went to his physician's assistant and I was telling him that I was having this pain in my stomach that had lasted for about 4 days. I started Googling things and I, thought or assumed it was some type of like gastrointestinal thing. I honestly thought I had like diverticulitis or something like that. So after a couple of days, I went to his nurse practitioner and I was like, look, something's not right. I've been having this pain in my stomach. So I ended up going to the surgeon that we work for and I told him about it. So he let his physician's assistant order an ultrasound. So that same day that he ordered that, I had a pelvic ultrasound and a transvaginal ultrasound. And that was all done right there in my building. At the time I worked at Penn in Philadelphia. So I had it done right there. A little bit later, I was back up in my office and the surgeon that I work for called me, to take a walk with him down the hall. And when I went into his office, he told me that the radiologist had called him and told him that I had a 7.4 centimeter mass on my left ovary. So I was obviously very surprised. I just thought I had some type of pain and whatnot. That was on a Friday afternoon. So he asked if I had a gynecologist and he wanted me to see someone in oncology there at Penn. So he had already had calls out to somebody before he spoke to me about getting me an appointment. So fast forward to that Monday, he told me who he wanted me to see. That Friday, I saw a surgical oncologist who ordered an MRI. A couple days later, I had an MRI of my abdomen. And that's when I found that they were masses on both of my ovaries. When I saw the surgical oncologist, though, sorry, let me rewind. He did go over all of my options with me for surgery. So he went over removing one ovary. He went over removing both. He went over adoption. He went over saving my eggs. He went over all these different options with me. This was even before my MRI. And then my MRI pretty much confirmed that it was cancer and that it was metastatic. So it had spread to other areas of my intestines. And then about a week and a half after that, I had a full hysterectomy.
Okay. All right. So how do you feel now? How did everything turn out?
So surgery went well. What she ended up removing was 8.5 centimeters and 9.5 centimeters masses on my left and my right ovary. Recovery was fine. I had about 8 weeks of post-op. After that, I guess after 9 weeks, I started my first round of chemotherapy this year on January 6th.
Okay.
But surgery, all that, everything went well.
Great. So Brjian, being Laura's husband and everything. So how did you feel? What did it feel like for you when you discovered and when Laura told you she had ovarian cancer?
Well, I kind of found out at the hospital when she got the surgery, like while she was still under. Me and my mother-in-law found out. It was shocking. I know Laura says she kind of assumed that's what it was, but to hear it and hear the doctor say it and to hear like what how far along it was shocking. Me and my mother-in-law both bursted into tears, of course. It just was a sad, shocking moment for both of us. But yeah, it was just totally caught me off guard. I was not expecting to hear that, honestly.
So
let alone stage 3. Sorry.
Oh, it's okay. It's fine. So we can continue.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting to hear that it was cancer, and I wasn't definitely expecting to hear that it was stage 3 cancer.
Okay.
So just to kind of, I guess, explain, like when I got my MRI, so they can predict things on imaging, right? But in gynecologic cancers, they don't know for sure until you're in the operating room under anesthesia. They take a piece of your mass and they send it off to pathology, which is called, I think it's called like a frozen specimen. And that's like 99% accurate. So I feel like I knew when I saw my imaging, but obviously like for him and my mom, once it's confirmed when I was under is when they actually prove that, it was it was actually cancer, I guess.
Right. Okay. All right. So Brjian, so what were some of the things you helped that you did for Laura to help her get through it?
I guess my approach was when she found she had it, she came back home, she had to recover. I did what I could, of course, with her not being able to move. She kind of went to my in-laws' house for a lot of that to make sure she was okay. But my theory was she has a lot of friends and we have a lot of family who would check on her every day, make sure she was okay.
Okay.
So I kind of, in my opinion, I thought was best for her was to kind of treat her like she didn't have it, because I know how she is and she didn't want to feel like she was sick and she didn't want to feel like she was bothering people. So for the most part, as much as I could, I tried to treat her like she didn't have it. I thought that was the best thing for her. And that was just my philosophy on it, to treat her like she didn't have it. Be there when I could, of course, emotionally support. But I just pretty much went along like this wasn't what was happening while it was happening, honestly.
Yeah. Okay.
I try to make it as normal as possible. You know what I mean?
I understand. All right. Great job. So Laura, how important was your support system, like family and friends?
So I think it was obviously really important. You have days where you feel like you just want to be left alone. You just want to relax. Yeah. You don't want to talk about it. You don't want to engage. I think people feel like they have to bring it up. I'm of the opinion, like, I don't really think you always have to bring it up. Like he said, there are a lot of times where you just want to feel like you're just living a normal life. So they were important in both regards, right? To have a balance of like, I'm there for you if you need anything, but also let's just have normal conversations. What's going on? What are you watching? The weather, what, you know what I mean? What have you? Yeah. So I think a balance is really, really important. I had a manager when I first started going through this that like he straight up told people like, I don't treat her like she's sick. I don't ask about it. I ask her if she needs anything. He actually sent me cases of water when I was drinking these hint waters when I was going through chemo and post-op. So like he sent me that, but he's like, I treat her like she's normal. I treat her like nothing's wrong. And I think that's a really good balance to have. And that's a really good trait to control, because a lot of people just want to ask. They want to talk about it. They want to be there. And I think the people that can find the balance are I don't want to say the most important people, but they're like the easiest ones, I guess, to deal with, so to speak.
Right. So normalcy was pretty much the key for you.
Yeah. I mean,
normalcy.
I continued work. I worked from home. I would go into the office when I could. I've worked at Foot Locker part-time for almost 20 years. And my chemo days were Fridays. So the day after chemo, I wouldn't go to work. But the other two Saturdays I would go into Foot Locker. And I remember one week my manager was like, you know what, I actually don't need you today. And I was like, oh my gosh, like this is the one thing that makes me feel normal. I'm not on my full-time job. I'm staying home. I was kind of like upset that he didn't want me to come to work, because I'm like, this is the one thing where I can get out, I can see people and just feel like nothing's going on. So normalcy was big.
Okay, I can dig it. I can dig it. So I don't know if I asked you if you said it. What was your anniversary date of being cancer free? What's your anniversary date?
So I don't really, maybe you know the answer to this. I don't know what they actually consider cancer free. Do you?
Probably the day you rang the bell.
Okay. So that's April 21st. So like I've read a couple different things. It's the day you ring the bell, or it's the day like your scans come back after chemo that are showing like, so I don't know. April 21st though, I finished chemo. So there we
go. Hey, so once you got that last cancer, that last chemo treatment, how did you feel? What was that like?
Obviously happy. It was kind of like probably I felt relieved in that moment.
I was going to say that.
I felt really relieved that it was over. The day before my first chemo treatment, I was not nervous. I was not scared. I wasn't I don't know. I just felt like I'm going to an appointment and this is what I have to do, and I'm going to do it. Towards the end, I only had 6 rounds, but towards the end, I was getting very like, all right, I don't want to do this anymore. Like these days are really, really long. I did cold capping for my hair. So like that extended the days a lot. I would say by 5 and 6, I was like, all right, I'm over this.
But you push through, right?
Yep.
All right. So, I tell you what, when I saw you in September at the NOCC event, I was surprised to see you both there. So, was that your first event?
It was. That was my very first one. I don't even remember. I think I just Googled like ovarian cancer walks and when would the next one was. And that's how I found that. And then I started following their like Instagram pages. I created a team. I had people register. We had people donate. But yeah, I think I just like Googled when is like ovarian cancer month, day, and walks, and that's how I came across.
How did you enjoy it? Did you have a good time?
Yeah, it was good. I was very overwhelmed. I had a lot of people there, and it being my first one, I felt like I was trying to like get to everybody. People walk at different paces and stuff like that. So when I left there, I almost felt bad that I didn't spend a lot of time with everyone, but he was like, people do their own thing at these things. So,
you can't get to everybody and walk. And like she said, everybody walks at their own pace.
Yeah.
You're seeing people you didn't know were going to be there. You're stopping and talking,
Yeah. But it was good.
I met a lot of friends there over the years. And I know there was a couple people I didn't get a chance to say hi to while I was there. Sometimes it's like that. Brjian, how did you enjoy the event? And I mean, you were the first one I saw. I'm like, Brjian, what you doing here?
Right. I enjoyed it though. It's a walk and you hear about it and then you plan for it. But when you get there, it's like, yo, this is a walk. You have to finish. You're putting in work. You're sweating. You're like, you know what I mean? You got a dog with you, picking up the dog. Like it's actually work. But I enjoyed it though. I really did. But now that I know what it entails, I'll be more prepared. You know what I mean? Because you hear it's a walk, but you don't realize like, yo, you got to walk a mile or so, like a couple miles. You really have to put the work in. So, but I definitely enjoyed it.
It's a 5K, 3.1.
Yes.
So you got to get in shape for that.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, the one thing I have to do next year is actually walk around to all of those tables and the tents and stuff like that. I didn't do that this year. So next year I'll have to, I got there early, but like people were kind of coming at different times. So I was waiting for them. So no, next year I have to do that. I have to get into that next year.
Oh yeah. Once you, after the first time, you kind of know the lay of the land.
Yeah.
And, by the next year, you pretty much know what you have, what you want to do.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed it though. I really did.
Yeah. You know what? Like I said, I was surprised to see you, but I was glad to see you guys come out. So for sure. So what is your team's name, Laura?
Just Do It.
Just Do It. Okay.
Yeah. I went back and forth with trying to create one. I looked up all these different ideas. And you know, the one thing that through my whole surgery recovery, treatment, what I guess term I'm trying to say is like, you just got to do it. Whatever you have to do, you just do it. Whether that's an appointment, whether it's treatment, whether it's an injection, getting out of bed, eating when you don't want to eat, drinking when you don't want to drink, talking when you don't want to talk. You literally just, you just got to do it, and you have to get through it. So I thought that was very fitting for me personally. Like that term meant something to me so much over the last year.
Okay, great. Well, I love the name. Just Do It. It's right. Go ahead and get it done.
That's right.
All right. And you know what? You cite the person who got it done, because I know when I saw your podcast on your other podcast that you did an interview on.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just trying to get this done.
Yeah. You know, I even said on there, and I'll say here is that I think everybody has days. We all have moments. We all have times. I just really don't think people should stay down in those moments and in those times. And chemo was not as bad as I was expecting, to be quite honest. I mean, but it was challenging. But you just have to get through these things. I think having a bad attitude or a bad mindset really affects you more than you think. And I think if you just go into these kinds of things, whether it's sickness, whether it's surgery, whether it's a rough day at work, whatever it is, I think you have to get through it. You know, like I said on there, chemo I felt was like part of my healing process. I had to do this to get to the other side of this thing to be able to look back and be like, I did this, I'm finished, I'm done, I'm just gonna move on. I didn't want to like harp on things. So yeah, I think that's what really got me through.
Okay, awesome. Okay. So besides your husband, who are the three most influential people that you had on your side throughout your fight?
3?
1, 2, or 3? You got 5, I'll take 5.
You know, I would say my parents. We're gonna group them as one. They're coming as a package. Okay. You know, my parents supported us more than I could have ever expected through this process. My mom went shopping for me weekly, food, bought me things to get ready for chemo, support. So definitely my parents. I mean, they were hands down the number one people in our lives at that time. I do think I have to say, when you say influential, I do think I'm going to say this, the doctor I used to work for and his team that ordered these things for me, that ordered my testing. I don't know where I would be if I didn't have them to go to that day that I just felt something was not right. And that's probably a really unexpected answer. But when you talk about influence, I don't think it would be right if I didn't mention them.
Major
so that's huge. My siblings continued to check on me. They came to the hospital. They asked if I needed anything. You know, my sisters listened. They gave advice when I wanted it. They gave an ear when I needed it. Let's see. I don't know. I can't just pick. I feel like everybody plays their role in these kinds of things. You know, I have countless friends that took me to appointments, that took me for an injection, friends that picked up medicine from the pharmacy for me. People sent me gifts. People sent me food. Like, so everybody's going to go into
so you can say you can say your whole community then, right?
Yeah,
you had a whole community of people to help you.
Yeah. Even before all this, I always like would find these posts on Instagram. Like, I call these people like my home team. I don't use village too much. Like, I call these people my home team, and I think that everyone collectively really showed up for me. They really did. Physically, mentally, emotionally. They all showed up in their own way.
Okay. All right. That sounds good. Okay. So, all right. So we got some fun things to ask.
Okay.
You know, break the ice a little bit. Okay.
All right.
So, Laura, tell me what was your favorite trip you ever taken?
So this year I actually went to the Bahamas for my mom's 60th birthday party. Not birthday party. Sorry. My mom's 60th birthday with my sisters, my brother's girlfriend, and my mom to celebrate her 60th. 3 weeks after I finished chemo. So 3 weeks after I rang the bell, I was in the Bahamas. And I didn't do much on that trip, but I think just being there, being with like important women in my life, was very calming. We did have fun. We danced, we swam with pigs, we laid on the beach, we, you know, and it was a short trip, but I mean, I think that was probably one of my favorites. Okay. Second to that, I would probably say our honeymoon.
Okay. Where'd you go?
We went to Jamaica for our honeymoon. Okay. But we did the ATV ride. He jumped off of like this mountain cliff.
Did you?
Yeah. We did horseback riding in the ocean. So that was fun.
You know what? I was going to ask you next, what was your favorite trip with your husband? But I take it was Jamaica on your honeymoon.
Yeah. Jamaica, and then our first trip together was Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico, okay.
And we really liked Puerto Rico when we went there. It wasn't like your typical resort.
Yeah, and it wasn't all inclusive, so it was a better experience. I think if you can do things off of the resort, it's just a better experience all around.
Yeah.
Okay. Great. So, Laura, let me ask you this. So, do you consider yourself an introvert or extrovert? Now, I think I know who you might be, but you tell me.
I think it depends on the setting, but probably an extrovert. I mean, like, we're very much like homebody people. I can't tell you the last time we went out to eat and sat in a restaurant. Like, we order takeout, we hang out, we watch TV, we watch sports, we watch fighting, we watch boxing and stuff like that.
Okay.
We do go to nice restaurants. So we just take them home. We just don't like to eat at the restaurant. We just get takeout.
Oh, you like takeout? Okay.
Yeah,
because we want to be home. You know, doing that first podcast, I was scared to death. I was so nervous. Even getting on here, I was nervous. I really don't like public speaking. This, I think, is different because it's more of like an intimate conversation. I'm not in a crowd. So I would say extrovert, but I think I have some introvert.
I'm an introvert. I think it's clear. I'm an introvert.
Yeah, I think you are, bro. I think you're an introvert. Yeah.
I'm laid back.
Yeah. Okay, here's one for you. So tell me, what would you say is your proudest moment?
I would say getting on the other side of this thing is really my proudest moment. And not I don't want to say struggling, but not, you know, mindset and stuff like that. You know, I think getting through all this, and I think maintaining a positive mindset, I think being open and transparent and honest. You know, a lot of people go through things alone. I'm part of like different groups on Facebook and stuff like that. And a lot of these women are like I don't want anybody to know, or I'm doing this alone and this group is all I have and I can't talk to anybody. And it makes me sad that people come to this group of strangers that they've never met before on the internet to talk about these things because they don't want anyone in their life to know what's going on. So I think if you can do this and get through it, I think that's probably my proudest.
Well, good for you, and I'm sure Brian's very proud of you. Your family's very proud of you. I'm proud of you. So
thank you.
Good for you. Good
Thank
for you.
you.
So what's your idea of a good time? I guess one being going to the restaurant and having takeout.
Watching a boxing match or UFC fight. We've been to boxing matches live. We've been to a lot actually, but as of recent, we've been watching them at home. Corona kind of changed a lot in the landscape. Sure. And as long it seems like it's been a long time, but things still haven't gone to back to normal yet in terms of different things like that.
What's the biggest boxing match you've been to? You ever been to Vegas for one?
No, we've been to Brooklyn. Which one is that? The Barclay. We watched Earl Spence against I can't think of his name right now. We also watched
Bud, was it?
No, not Bud. That was the big fight that just happened. That was a major event. But we saw Devin Haney, who's right now the undisputed champion. But we like to catch them before they get to their, you know what I mean?
Their
catch
peak.
them right before they blow.
Yeah.
So we can say we were fans from the beginning. Yeah.
You like them on the come up. Okay.
Yes. We catch a lot of them on the come up.
Who else? Who else did you see on the come up that's a champion now?
So we saw Devin Haney. We saw Earl Spence. Okay. Who else did we see? Oh man, it's been a while. Devin, Spence.
Any heavyweight?
Did we see Bud? I'm not sure if we saw Bud or not.
No, we went to. I feel like we went to one more.
I'm trying to think. Hold on, give me a minute. It's a champion now. Devin, Spence. We saw Broner. Broner's not a champion anymore, but Broner was a champion. Adrian Broner was a champion.
Oh, yeah, I remember Adrian Broner. Yep.
Yeah. Broner, Spence, and Devin. Devin right now is probably the biggest name that we've seen before he became what he is now.
All right.
But yeah, I love boxing matches. I think it rubbed off on her. I love UFC too.
I watched boxing before him.
I like you. I think I brought on the UFC.
Yeah, UFC. I didn't watch UFC. He watched that.
I love boxing, and then UFC was second. As I gotten older, UFC is probably more. I'm more into UFC than I am boxing, but I love them both. I like basketball, football, of course, but boxing and fighting is my love. Like that's what I lock in on. That's the stuff that can change my day. Whoever wins or loses, that's the type of stuff that can change my day. Not really Eagles or Sixers or Phillies.
So you more boxing than UFC. Okay.
Yeah. That's more to fighting sports.
Good for you. So Laura, what is something you like to do in your spare time, like a hobby or anything like that? When you're just chilling?
Yeah, I work a lot. I work my full-time job. I work my part-time job, sometimes Saturdays and Sundays. I really do, even though I guess I'm an extrovert since you guys are telling me that, I really do like being at home.
You that. I just said I have an idea who you are. I didn't say
it. She is though.
I do like, hanging out at home. I can binge a show and
we binge a lot of Netflix
a day.
Shows, definitely.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, good. Okay. That's what's up. All right. So let's see. My last question. Well, one of my last questions is: so you mentioned that you like boxing, you like to eat out, or take out, I should say, UFC. Anything else that you like?
We met at Foot Locker. That's how this whole relationship started.
Really?
Because I worked at Foot Locker for over 20 years. I had to leave because I couldn't do it my other job. She's still hanging on. I guess she's like 23 years in.
So no, I'm not 20 yet.
You got not 20 yet?
Next year will be 20 years.
So we both love sneakers. Not as much as we used to, but we still both love sneakers. We try to stay in the game a little bit.
What's your favorite sneaker?
Right now, New Balances are the best sneakers out right now.
You know what? I'm a lover of New Balance mainly because it gives my feet support. When I tore my Achilles about 11 years ago.
Right.
I had to get.
I actually remember when that happened.
Yeah, I couldn't can't wear Nikes because they don't really have width. So
right, that was to say they're narrow. Nikes are narrow. Yep, but yeah, New Balance. New Balance always had its support and stability, but right now,
Yep.
right now in this era, they have the designs to go with it. Right now,
Yeah.
they're like number one out here in these
Oh yeah,
streets.
they branched out. I know
New Balance are
Kawhi.
definitely doing the thing.
Yeah, New Balance. I think Kawhi and Coco Golf. They wear
Yes,
New Balance. Yep.
yes, yes, yep,
Exactly. Yeah,
yep.
I wear those for when I'm walking around, and when I run, I like Asics.
Okay, Asics
Oh
are
yeah.
good right now too. Honestly, now that you say
Mhm.
that, Asics
Yeah.
are doing their thing too.
Yep.
Yep.
Well, good for you guys. So a couple closing questions for you, Laura. So, what would be your advice to ovarian cancer patients to keep their spirits up and stay in the fight?
So I think I mentioned it a little bit, but I think I think getting people around you that really support you, that really you know, are there to listen, that can, you know, give you verbal advice, give, you know, and just be a listening ear. I think you really before starting, I think you really just have to get in your mind that whatever is going to happen to you is going to happen to you. You can read all of these stories, you can Google a million things. My fight is not someone else's fight. Someone else's fight is not mine. In the beginning, I got really, really overwhelmed and I felt really, really unprepared. And just something hit me that I was like, what's going to happen to me is going to happen to me. Just because this woman went through this or she experienced that doesn't mean that's going to happen to me. And when it does, I'll deal with it when it comes. It's not a matter of, you know, like I said, I felt unprepared, but there's really nothing you can do until you're really in the thick of things. So I think just trying to get in the right mindset of being prepared of what's going to happen and then dealing with that however you want when that happens. You know, I got really wrapped up in like, I'm not prepared. I didn't do enough. I've been sitting here for 8 weeks. I could have did this. I could have did that. And then I was just like, that's ridiculous because no one can actually, you know, prepare for this. But I think dealing with things as they come, and whatever that looks like for you as an individual, and not compare yourself to what other people have gone through or what they're going through.
Okay. All right. Awesome. Good advice. Good advice. Good advice. Any closing thoughts?
I don't have any closing thoughts. I think I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if my philosophy was the best, but for Laura and how I know her and getting her feedback from, you know, because people really care. And when you're going through something, people really want to reach out and let you know that they care. But I feel like that also can become redundant where they're like, how are you today? It's just the next day. Like nothing's really changed, but you want to, you still appreciate them asking you. But so like I said, my philosophy was just treat her like she doesn't have it. And like when she wants to talk or when she's going through it, of course I'm going to be there. But for everyday basic stuff, you're going to keep rolling like you don't have it. You know what I mean? Like that's just the mentality I took. And I think that was best for her. I think that's what she needed, honestly.
You know what? You know, just listen to you talk. I think that's probably the one takeaway I have from this conversation is normalcy.
Yes.
You know you have it, you know you're going through it, but you still want to live your life, live your best life.
You want to be, she don't want to be looked at as a victim. And I know, know her, knowing her personality, I know that was the last thing she wanted. So
that's right. So that's
and I think when you have like a good outlook on it, it helps the people around you. Like if I would have been sad and crying and upset, my whole family would have been sad and crying and upset. You know what I mean? So I don't think it's already enough for them. I'm like, it's already enough on a husband or a parent or a sibling or a friend to watch someone they care about go through this. So of course they're naturally going to be upset, but I think if they see you handling things well, it really kind of has everybody rally together and you just, like I said, you just do it. You just kind of get through it. But I think the person that is sick or going through something, I think you actually really set the tone
for sure
for how your treatment's going to go, how your process is going to go, how people are going to support you, how people are going to reach out. I think you set that. And I think that's really important, for people going through this. You know, he said about people reaching out. I felt in the beginning, I felt like I had to answer people right away. Like they care, they're reaching out. I need to answer them. But like, I got to a point where I was like, I got a lot going on. I don't feel well today. So like, I'm going to answer you when I answer you, and not in like a mean way or anything, but I finally broke that. Like I had to respond to people immediately.
Because that becomes another burden. Like you said, people reach out and you want to show them that you appreciate that they care. But then it's like, I can't get to everybody every day. I'm actually going through this. You know what I mean? I don't want to feel like, I know she didn't want to feel like she had to, like she said, she had to answer everybody or get to everybody or show them that she appreciates them. No, it's okay. Like take your day, take your time. You get to them when you can. Yep. We appreciate the love, but she's going to take care of her first.
Yeah.
And I'm sure people understand that too,
For sure.
And I think that was me. I was feeling like I got to answer them. I'm okay. I feel all right. I don't need anything. And I think that was just all in my mind. I don't think people thought that. So I had to break that with myself during the process to be like, all right, you know what? I don't feel like talking today, so I'm going to answer these people tomorrow. But I felt guilty in the beginning. But if you set those boundaries, people understand for sure.
All right. Well, listen, Laura and Brjian, thank you so much for coming out and talking to me today, talking to everybody. And so on behalf of everybody at Team Kimlee, we certainly thank you so much for coming out. And listen, the one thing we are is when it comes to other teams, we're all family. So
that's right.
Team Kimlee and Team Just Do It. We all in this together.
For sure.
So, that's
for
right.
Sure. Chris, thanks for reaching out to us and having this conversation with us. Really.
You're so welcome. And if I don't talk to you, guys, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
You too.
And, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, Chris.
Okay, you guys take care.
All right. Have
Chris,
a good night.
Appreciate you.
See ya.
Later.